Greetings, mighty companions, and welcome to the 11 a.m. Course in Miracles session at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. And we're just going to start off by taking a few minutes just to calm our minds, quiet our minds, and allow ourselves to come back to the present moment. So if you haven't already, just close your eyes and take a breath. And just relax. Just enjoy that you're here right now. There's nowhere else that you need to be. Remind your mind there's nothing else that you need to be doing. That this holy instant now is all there is of time. And this holy instant now has everything that we could possibly need or want, for peace, for joy, for healing. All of heaven is waiting for us right now, within us. We don't need to wait for heaven. Let's say hello to heaven. Feel for the heaven that is within you, the heaven that is you. Feel for it. Open your heart and your mind to the reality, the heavenly reality within you now. Feel how you are connected to everyone and everything. Feel how you have everything. How you are complete and healed and whole now and forever. For the peace that is the fabric of reality. Feel for the happiness that was built into us. Self and its ecstasy, its joy. And then let us give this gathering to the spirit of healing and the spirit of truth. Spirit of healing, spirit of truth, we give this gathering to you in gratitude to you for the opportunity to come together and listen to the truth about ourselves together and be healed by the truth together. Thank you, Spirit, for this opportunity. We ask you to be in charge and to decide for healing for all of us. And we thank you in advance for answering our calls for help and our calls for love, which you always do. Thank you. Thank you for never abandoning us in our madness, even when we would forget about you. We thank you, Spirit, for your gifts to us. And to that we say, amen. So when you're ready, just bring yourself back, take a breath, and breathe. Oh, wonderful. Hi, everybody online. so good to be back. I really missed you guys. So, and Matt, thank you for doing such a great job. Yeah, you got to close that. That'll go right in my eye. You need to close that, actually. It's the reflection off the cars comes right from my eyes. Okay, but thank you.
Perfect.
All right. Hi, Tricia. Hi, Irene. Irene says hello to all our mighties here. Love it. And, okay. So, guys, we are going to be in the teacher's manual today. In the teacher's manual, question number 8. And it is, let's see where we're at. Okay, so teacher's manual, question number 8, and it is, how can perception of order of difficulty in healings be avoided? Right? How can the perception of orders of difficulty in healing this problem be avoided? Okay, so what's my problem? Because I think that this problem is harder or more difficult than another problem. I think this problem is the big one. This is the one. This is the one, you know, that's going to do me in. This problem is different from all the other problems that I have, right? And that's why I'm afraid of this problem. That's why I'm worried about this problem. That's why I'm upset, because I think that this problem is harder or more difficult to heal than all the others. You know, which is exactly what I thought last problem, but now I think it, now I believe it again. Now, was it true with the last problem? No, that problem got handled. That problem got healed. But this one is different. This problem is special. This one's going to be harder to allow a healing for than all the others. And this is the perception that our teacher is wanting us to avoid. I want you to avoid believing that there's an order of difficulty in healing. I want you to avoid that perception. Okay? And so this section is going to be teaching us how to avoid that perception so that we see problems as they are, which is the same as every other problem and not real, not really a problem. No, our problem is that we think we have a problem. That's what the Course says. And so we are going to hear the truth about problems. We're going to hear the truth about sicknesses. We're going to hear the truth about all of them. And it's going to be very surprising to hear that they have something in common. They're all the same. I know that it doesn't look like all of our problems and sicknesses are the same. I know it doesn't look like that to our body's eyes. But that's part of the problem. You know, but when you can see your problems and your sicknesses correctly as the same and unreal, then they are gone. That's how they're really healed. That's how problems are really healed. So, it says the belief. Does everybody see where it is? Everybody have it? So where you guys online, we are. Thank you. It's Teacher's Manual, question number 8. How can perception of orders of difficulty in healing be avoided? The belief in orders of difficulty is the basis for the world's perception. Everything the world perceives is based on that there are orders of difficulty in healing. Let me tell you, that's the basis of the world's perception. The world's perception rests on differences. What does that mean? That means the world's perception rests on uneven backgrounds, shifting foregrounds, on unequal heights and diverse sizes, on varying degrees of darkness and light, and not only that, but thousands of contrasts in which each thing seen competes with every other thing seen in order to be recognized. In other words, a larger object overshadows a smaller object. A brighter thing draws the attention from another thing with less intensity of appeal, and a more threatening idea, or an idea conceived of as more desirable by the world's standards, completely upsets the mental balance. So you just described the perception of the world. That's how the world perceives. Everything's different, and everything's in competition to be seen. See me, see me, see me, me, I'm different. See me, I'm brighter. See me, I'm denser. See me, I'm bigger. See me, I'm smaller. So everything in the world that we see, everything we see is different and separate and competing with all the other things we see to be recognized as real. So we don't see anything that's the same. We don't see anything that's the same. Our eyes were not made to see the oneness, the sameness, the one reality that we all share. Our eyes were not made to see that, right? That's why we got two of them, right? And so everything that is in the world, everything the world sees is something that's different and separate and in competition with everything else to be seen, right? So that's why, marketers are always like, the brighter, the shinier, it's like, ooh, shiny stuff. Ooh, we love shiny stuff, don't we? Because shiny stuff is so like, ooh, that's different. It's shinier than that rock that is duller. Okay?
New and improved.
So this diamond is different than this rock because the diamond is shinier, it's prettier. Okay? And so they're different, we believe, right? That's the world's perception based on differences. Everything's different. All right. And then it says, what the body's eyes behold is only conflict. Things that are different and separate and competing at one another. That's conflict. That's conflict. That's all our eyes see is conflict. So don't look to your body's eyes for peace and understanding. Don't look to what you see with your body's eyes. Don't look to what you see with your body's eyes out there. For what? For peace and understanding. You want some understanding? You're going to have to close your eyes. You're going to have to stop looking at the different competing things in the world that seem different. You're going to have to close your eyes and look at something else. Okay? Then what the world shows you, what you can see with your eyes. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Then it says that was paragraph 1. Paragraph 2. Illusions are always illusions of differences. So what's an illusion? This is different from that, and this is different from that. And this is a different problem than that problem. That's a different person than that person. This issue is different than that issue. Okay? That's what illusions are. Illusions are always illusions of differences. Okay? If the illusions are the problem, then what's the problem? That I'm perceiving differences really where there are no differences. Because I'm looking with my eyes, and I'm not thinking with my mind. Okay? It says, now, how could it be otherwise? By definition, an illusion is an attempt to make something real that is regarded as of major importance, but is recognized as being untrue. There's another great definition of illusion. Something that you want to be true even though it's not true. That's what an illusion is. Something you want to be true even though it's not true. That's what an illusion is. That's when you're deluded when you are wanting something that's not true to be true, even though it's not true. Now you're seeing illusions, you're deluded. Wow. Like whenever we're wanting differences to be real. This is different. They are different. They are not like me. I am not like them. This difference between us is true. It is real. Don't tell me I'm the same as them. Don't tell me the Israelis and the Palestinians are the same. Okay. Don't tell me that. That's me wanting an illusion to be true even when it's not true. And what's the illusion that I want to be true that's not true? Differences. Differences in people, differences in the situation, differences in problems, differences in sicknesses.
Specialness.
Differences in specialness. Exactly. All the differences that I want to be true that are not true. And if you tell me they're not true, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to tell you, you are deluded. What is wrong with you? Everyone can see that those two people are different. Everyone can see that me and they are different. Come on. That is so offensive. What do you mean you see us as the same? That's why we don't like, that's why we run away from God. That's why we made a fake false God. Because God doesn't see us as different. And we were like, well then screw you, God. I don't need you. I'm gonna make up my own God. You call it specialness. You know. All right. So that's what an illusion is. And so when a mind is wanting illusion, something that's not true, to be true, the mind then therefore seeks to make that illusion true out of the mind's intensity of desire to have that illusion for itself. That's how our mind works. It's like the mind is like, I'm gonna make that illusion true because, and I'm gonna make it true. You know how I'm gonna make that illusion true? Out of the intensity of my desire to have it for myself. That's how we make illusions. That's how we make illusions seem so real, from the intensity of our desire to have that illusion for ourselves. I want to be different. I want to be better than. Come on. I want to see myself as better than them, or at least better than some people, you know. And I make it seem real by the intensity of my desire for it to be true, even when it's not true. Okay. That's how our mind seems to make things seem true that really are not true. That's a illusion making ability of our mind. All right. Then it says, illusions are travesties of creation, and illusions are attempts to bring truth to lies. This is what illusions are. Finding truth unacceptable, the mind revolts against truth and gives itself an illusion of victory. This is what our mind is doing, right? This is how we are using our creativity. This is how we're using the creativeness that creation gave us. Creation, God, gave us this incredible, unlimited creative ability. That's what God gave us. Unlimited creative ability to be creator, just like God is. And what are we using our creativity to do? I'm going to bring the truth to lies. I'm going to try to make true what's not true. That's how I'm using the unlimited creativity of my mind. Isn't that special? And how do I do that? How am I finding truth unacceptable? My mind revolts against truth and gives itself an illusion of victory. See, I was right. We are different. I am better. See, I am worse. See, I have victory. I'm right about what I wanted to be true, even though it's not true. See, victory. It's true. Look. My eyes now report that. Okay, that's how we make illusions and make them seem true. It says, finding health a burden, our mind retreats into feverish dreams. So we find truth unacceptable and we find health a burden, and so our mind retreats into feverish dreams. Okay? And what is a feverish dream that our mind retreats in when we find health and truth a burden? Well, the feverish dream our mind retreats into is a dream in which our minds are separate, which means different from other minds with different interests of their own, and minds able to gratify their needs at the expense of others. That is the definition of a feverish dream. Okay? Maybe you call it a hallucination. If you're having it in the daytime, you might call it a hallucination. If you're having it at nighttime, it's a feverish dream. But it's a scary dream. It's scary. You know how the dreams you have when you have a bad fever? They're scary. And this is the scary dream. All minds are separate and different from other minds, and each mind thinks it can gratify its own needs at the expense of others. Like, I can get what I want from taking it from others. I can get what I want from taking it from another. That's a feverish dream. That's a scary dream. That's a dog-eat-dog world. That's a world where everything lives off the death of something else. Real cheery. That's the dream that our mind retreats into when we want something to be true that's not true. And the thing we want to be true that's not true is we really, really want to be different. We want us to be different from others, and we want everything we see to be different from each other, all the other things we see. It's like we find truth a burden. Truth is that we're all the same. We're created by the same, created by creation, all the same, all having everything, all eternally sinless and innocent, all one and joined forever. But we find that a burden. We find that unacceptable. We find that offensive. We find the truth offensive. So we're like, well, I'll just make up my own reality. And then we withdraw into our own world. And then wonder why it's so chaotic and so terrifying, where everything seems to live off of the death of something else. Dang, also we can be different. Dang, that's a very high price for something that's never going to be true. That's a very high price. All of our upset is that, oh, I think I'm different from you. I mean, you've got your own interests separate from me, which means now I've got to watch out for my own perceived separate interests, right? I got to protect my own separate interests. Okay? And then now I'm upset and I'm worried and anxious because I see that this problem of mine seems different from all the other problems. This one seems harder to solve, bigger. So all of our problems come down to the illusion of differences. Remember what it said? All illusions, it says illusions are always illusions of differences. It all comes down to that. I think we're different. I think they're different. I think this is different. And now I'm terrified. Now I'm living a feverish dream where to have what I want, I got to take it from somebody else. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be you? Do you have what I need? Can I get what I need from you? Is it you? Is it you? Who's it going to be? Well, whoever I think it is, I'm going to form a special relationship with them.
Who can I cannibalize next?
Who can I and call it love? Who can I make a special relationship with next? Okay. That's part of the feverish dream. All right. Now, that's paragraph 2. Questions or comments of this cheery topic?
Well, I'm reminded of somewhere earlier in the text, he's very clear about how disillusionment is not the opposite or the cure for an illusion.
Yes.
Reality is.
Yes. Right.
And that mostly comes to mind in regard to the ending of special relationships is what I'm associated with. Become disillusioned with, now I see the truth of the so-called truth, but it's really just another illusion.
That's exactly right, because at the end of a relationship we go, now I see that our differences are real. For a hot minute I thought maybe we were one, but now I see how different we are, right? But really, that's not disillusionment, that's just deeper into illusion. That's deeper into delusion. Yes, thank you. Beautiful. Did you want to say something?
Well, I'm not trying to articulate it. In the beginning when you were asking what the question, I think it would be progress if you at least are open to the idea that there's not an order of difficulties, because mostly we don't even go there. We hear this, we hear the truth, but then we're over here doing whatever we do.
Acting like it's all different.
Yeah, well, acting like what people do without knowing. With the two, there's like a wall. There's a dissociation between what the truth is and being actually able to apply it in our lives. Because we do believe that some things are harder than others.
Yes.
So I think if you can even ask the question and be open, that's progress.
Absolutely. That's a great application of this idea, is that when you are experiencing a problem, to remind yourself, okay, the Course in Miracles says that this problem is not different than any other problem. It's not more difficult than any other problem. So, now what? So asking, remembering what the truth is telling us, about what we're seeing with our eyes that looks very different and looks very scary. It looks very special.
Well, and I think if we look at our thoughts, like I was having a thought that, well, now I got to work on this.
Yes.
I can see how over the last week I thought. So if I examine it and really be aware of what my thoughts are and what the truth is telling me, then maybe we can start to break down the illusion.
Yes.
And apply it.
That's right.
To actually apply it to what I've been thinking.
Yeah, exactly. That reminds me of how the Course says that the problems that look more difficult to heal are the ones we're not bringing to spirit, that we're not bringing to the truth. Is that those are the ones that you are keeping for yourself to solve, instead of bringing it to truth and go, here, truth, here's this problem that seems big to my eyes, right? So, but the ones that you do bring to spirit and go, here you go, spirit, what about that? Those are the ones that get healed. So the illusion of order of difficulty in healing is only because some problems I'm bringing to spirit, I'm bringing to truth, and some problems I'm not. Some problems I'm not bringing to spirit till they get really bad. Some problems I'm like, I can handle this one, or I know what's going on here. I see what my eyes are reporting. I can totally believe what my eyes are reporting about this problem. Those are the ones that seem to be more difficult to heal. It's the ones I am not bringing to truth. But as soon as I bring it to truth, then I'm shown that this problem is no harder or bigger or more difficult to heal than any other. And then it is gone. So thanks for that reminder that the process is bringing the problem to truth, so that truth can show you, can teach you that it's just the same as every other problem, and it's not true. It's an illusion. It's a projection. It's a misperception, a misinterpretation.
Okay, which brings up really looking at trust. And why hasn't this been, asked for help before or whatever? So it brings up a whole thing about what I really believe in and trust, and what was the other thing? Oh, that it may, there could be a healing, but it might look different than what I'm expecting, could we say?
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, on a physical level,
Yeah. Exactly. There are times when we were like, God, take this from me. What does this mean? And then we think, well, I didn't get healed. I didn't hear anything. I took it to God and nothing happened. Right? And so thank you for saying that. And what A Course in Miracles is telling us is that it's not possible that you bring something to spirit and say, take this from me, look upon it for me, and show it to me through your eyes, and Spirit not do that, okay? But it is possible that you not hear Spirit's answer because you think you know how Spirit should answer you, and when Spirit doesn't answer you in the way that you thought that Spirit should or would, then you don't hear its answer, and you think you haven't been answered. You've been answered, but it just didn't fit in with what you thought the problem was. Like, I brought my relationship problem to Spirit, but Spirit didn't answer, and so now I still have this relationship problem. And Spirit was like, it's not a relationship problem, by the way. Well, because I don't hear that, because I'm pretty sure that's a relationship problem, and I'm pretty sure it's them, that they're the problem.
So picking up on this discussion here, I just want to bring up something that we learned last month when we were looking at the lessons of the Holy Spirit, exactly about this. How can we actually utilize there is no order of difficulty in miracles? And this is perhaps most relevant to interpersonal relationships, but you cannot perform miracles without believing that there's no order of difficulty in miracles, because it is a belief in perfect equality. And only one equal gift can be offered to the equal children of God, and that is full appreciation. And so if we recognize, if we can first recognize, remember that there's this idea that we're trying to accept, there's no order of difficulty in miracles. The next step would be to remember this, that, okay, I'm seeing a problem between myself and this person, but this is telling me that I must not be perceiving with full appreciation who and what they are and what this situation really is.
Exactly.
And I could change my mind about that, and at least, if not articulating it, have the experience of full appreciation.
Exactly. Right. Full appreciation that this person and you are the same,
exactly
or
the
that
same.
this situation is no different than any other situation. Full appreciation of that. Yeah. Thank you. Perfect.
I find it challenging. Really, really, like, that's a base word. When it comes to the political arena, I don't want to get into that, but like when you were talking about the problem of putting people down, and I was just like, yeah, the Trump problem. You know, it was kind of like, and then there's this cacophony of the masses that have joined in his belief or his actions or his, and so how do I say, well, that's an illusion when I'm out with the party or whatever, we're talking and there's differences of opinion, and I try to step back and say, okay, I am that person. That is so hard.
Oh yeah, but the small willingness perhaps would be to recognize, okay, I'm having these judgmental thoughts. That must mean that I'm not expressing full appreciation.
And
that's
also,
just the small willingness to actually recognize.
And then you look at for me, the ramifications of that power and what it can do to the masses on the other side that don't have the fight, the poor, the weak, the humble, the immigrants, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm that person, that's really hard. But on another completely thing, when we were talking about no difficulty in miracles, I don't know who says it, if it's in the Course or if it's where, then it's like, well, why can't someone just grow back a limb? You know, if they know that they're connected and one with God, and whoever it was said, because they don't believe they can.
Exactly. And lots of, and plenty of people have.
Yeah.
You know, and if one person can have a miraculous healing, then anybody can. Because why? Because we're not different. And the problems aren't different. You know, and in the political arena, you know, what we call differences in the political arena, they're not different. It's all the same system. It's all the same belief system. They all believe the belief system that we do. So really, the differences that we see, in particular in that arena, are illusions of differences, and we're upset about and angry about those differences that we believe that we're seeing. This person is definitely different from this candidate. Is different from this candidate. I mean, any fool could see that, right? Okay. And then, but notice how we feel about that. Angry. Angry. Though seeing those differences in them did not make us happy. It made us angry, and it continued on our own delusion that is really the source of our problems. Remember, it says all illusions, or you could say all problems, are illusions of differences.
And there's one problem.
And there's one problem.
And one solution.
And one solution, exactly. And these problems are not different because there's only one problem. Now, like you were saying, Deborah, that takes faith, that takes trust, and it also takes application. Like you were saying, Matt, it takes application, or even a little willingness to apply it to see that it's true. You're not going to get that that's true just by going, oh, that makes sense. That's beautiful. It's the willingness to trust that it's true, even though my body's eyes do not report that. This is a whole curriculum on learning how to not trust your body's eyes. That's what this, learn how to not trust your body's eyes so implicitly. We've all seen how our eyes deceive, but yet we still trust them implicitly. I see differences, it must be different. Okay, delusional girl. All right.
Can I back up just a second? So,
Yeah.
Appreciation. Will you address that again? Was that in here? So I don't have appreciation.
That was back in chapter
That,
6.
yes.
Okay, so appreciation for
Equality.
For that teaching that I was referring to was full appreciation for the equal children of God.
okay.
For the lack of differences.
For the lack of differences, despite what my eyes are telling me. And a little willingness, perhaps, could be the recognition that, okay, I'm not fully appreciating you. I'm not fully appreciating Trump. I'm not fully appreciating his believers, his true believers. I'm not fully appreciating that this is all a freaking illusion, and I'm not trying to make differences amongst illusions. I'm not fully appreciating that fact. If I could just recognize that, that would be an important step.
Exactly. And I'm not appreciating that whatever it is that I'm seeing is different from me and judging is an aspect of myself. It's a projection. It's like, well, he's different. No, whatever you're seeing is a projection from your own mind of what you think about yourself.
We're
Truly.
always trying to make sense out of the senseless.
Yeah, we're always trying, exactly. We're always projecting what we think about ourselves and thinking that we are seeing what's really there, not realizing at all that we're deluded. We're like, I'm not deluded, I'm perfectly sane. If you are seeing differences and you are unhappy about that, or if you're seeing differences, you are not sane, and you are setting yourself up for upset, for sickness, for suffering and problems, because that's where they come from. All right.
So the only problem is that we think there's differences.
Yes, exactly.
And I want them to be.
And I want
them.
And I want.
Right.
I am giving them meaning because from the desire, from the intensity of my desire to be different, to have differences between me and them. I have an intense desire to be different. Yeah.
In other words, there's a part of my mind, the decision maker, that really, really, really wants all of this to be true.
That's right.
I want to
Exactly.
prove I'm separate.
I want to prove I'm separate. And the delusion is once I can prove I'm different, I'll be happy.
And that's why we came here, according to the Course.
And that's
Prove
why
to
we
God
came
that we
here.
can be separate from Him.
This is different. This is difference. This is difference. Disneyland. Yes, the land of contrast. Differences. Disneyland. Disneyland different. So, where we get to write, and then and what it's saying is that delusion of differences makes your mind retreat into a feverish dream where you're separate and you're alone and you're different from everybody, and the only way you can get your needs met is at the expense of somebody else, which means the only way they can get their needs met is from the expense of you. That's a dog-eat-dog world, you know, where everything lives off the death of something else, and that all comes from the belief in differences, the illusion of differences, and the intensity of our desire to make them true. All right. Okay. Now, paragraph 3. Where do all these differences come from? Where do they all come from here in Differences Disneyland? Certainly, these differences, all these differences, seem to be in the world outside. Yet it is surely the mind that judges what the eyes behold. It is the mind that is interpreting the eye's messages, which means it's the mind that's giving the eye's messages so-called meaning. And this meaning that our mind is giving to what our eyes are seeing does not exist in the world outside at all. Whoo-wee! The meaning that my mind is giving to what my eyes see is not there at all. It's not even there. I am completely making up a reality that is not there in the outside world. That is so deep. It says, and what is seen as, quote, reality is simply what the mind prefers. What I see as so-called reality is simply what my mind prefers. That's all I'm seeing. I'm not looking out and going, there's reality, look at it. It's, oh my God, it's full of differences and they're terrifying. Okay. What my mind says, what I see outside myself is simply what my mind prefers. It's my mind's hierarchy of values is projected outward, and then my mind sends my body's eyes to find what my mind values, what my mind has projected, the values my mind has projected. Now my body's eyes go to find what my mind has projected onto the world. That's what we call seeing. That's what we call seeing. Oh, I'm now going to, my mind is now, has projected its values out into the world, and now my body's eyes go to seek it. That's what I call reality. And I go, look, here's reality. No, you didn't find reality. You found your body's eyes reported what your mind projected onto the world. Yes?
Well, I just want to add, it doesn't really say so here, but other places in the course it says that what your mind is also doing when it does this is project its own guilt.
Yes. That's one of the values. That's one of that's the main value.
It's not just a difference.
Yes.
It's, you know, to work through these things, you have to look at yourself and work through your own feelings of guilt.
Yes.
Before you can move on.
Exactly. And that's one of the main values that we value. You know, we value guilt. That's one of our values. You know, I want other people to feel guilty because if they don't, then they're not going to do what I want them to do.
Well, I feel guilty, but I can't tolerate it in me.
Exactly.
So I look at you
right.
as the guilty person, and that's how I project it.
Exactly.
To make myself feel better.
Exactly.
That's why you project.
Exactly.
I value guilt as so long as it's on you and not on me.
Thank you.
Right.
I value guilt as long as it's on you and not me.
Well, it's the game I'm playing.
That's right.
I won't acknowledge it myself. I'm going to take it out on you.
That's right.
And you do the same to me, and we end up with the world that we live in.
There you go. Like I said, when it was the question, where do all these differences come from? And you just answered it. That's where they all come from.
Projection.
Projection. They all come from projection, you know. And what we call reality is not reality at all. It's just a projection of the guilt and our values onto the world.
Thank
You know?
God.
And yeah. Well, thank God, because if that's the case, that means I can change the whole world right now with a change of value within my own mind. You know, I can change all of reality as I see it. If I don't like what I think I see outside myself, I can absolutely change it if what's out there is indeed coming from my mind and what my mind is valuing.
Oh, right, I mean, that's the point.
That's
If
the
we're
point.
doing it anyway,
Yeah,
let's just change the way we do it
exactly.
and end up with a much better world.
Exactly, like it says, you know, seek not to change the world, but only to change your mind about the world. You know, which is changing your mind about yourself. What do you want? What do you want to see? What would you rather be seeing? You don't like what you're seeing? What would you rather be seeing? What would you rather, what do you want? You know, it's like, let me remember what I really want. I really want peace. Oh yeah, duh. Instead of wanting to see that we're different from each other so that I can justify my judgments and justify my anger. All right, beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so it says, where were we? Yes. It says the body's eyes will never see except through differences. That's what the body's eyes were made biologically and anatomically. The body's eyes were made to see differences. Yet it is not the messages the body's eyes bring on which perception rests. So your perception isn't resting on what your body's eyes are showing you. It's only the mind that evaluates your eyes' messages. So only the mind is responsible for seeing. Only my mind is responsible for what I'm seeing right now. Okay, what am I seeing? What is my, instead of what am I seeing right now, what is my mind valuing right now? What is my mind valuing right now? What does my mind want right now? Because that's what my body's eyes are going to see. That's all they can see. Your body's eyes can't see anything but what you want to see, what your mind is valuing. Man, boy, does that put responsibility back on us, just smack dab right on us. You know, where's the grievance if that's the truth? Where's your grievance? What happens to your grievances? What happens to your anger? Poof. It just, you know, for a moment you'll be tempted to have anger for yourself. You'll be tempted to blame yourself.
Choose the experiences I experience. You know, I'm just.
For a moment, when you start to be like, okay, whatever I'm seeing is a reflection in my mind, and then you go, oh, I must be bad. There must be something wrong with me. What's wrong with me? So the Course says, as you withdraw blame from without, there's a temptation and a tendency to harbor blame within. But then it says, but the truth is that blame should be undone, is inappropriate altogether. Blame on them and blame on yourself. Okay.
I could see peace instead
Because
of this.
because I could see peace in this. What happens to your blame when you go, okay, that was a projection, and I could see peace instead of this? What happens to the self-blame?
I've noticed that when I withdraw projection into myself, and I realize, okay, I'm doing this unto myself, and then my ego wants to come to the back door and say, oh, you're not spiritual, you're actually a bad person.
That's the blame.
And then I'm aware of the ego trying to blame me,
Yes.
or myself,
Yes.
and then I look at that and I'm like, okay, that's not true either.
Yes.
You know, and you just become, I just fall into stillness and just look at it.
Beautiful. And like Matt was saying, I could see peace instead of this. You know, and I'm the guiltless child of God. You know, I am as God created me. So it's like take the blame from out there. Then you say no to the temptation of blame within, and then the next thing is to remember the truth. To remember the truth about yourself. And the Course in Miracles gives us a jillion statements of truth about ourselves that we can use to replace, what the perception we didn't want. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so great. So what is it? So only the mind is responsible for seeing. The mind alone decides whether what is seen is real or illusory. The mind alone decides whether what is seen is desirable or undesirable, pleasurable or painful. My mind decides what's pleasurable or painful. My mind decides what's pleasurable and painful. You see that truly. You see people, doing things that to you look painful, but to them it's pleasurable. You're like, how could that, blah, 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 how could that be seen as pleasurable to them? Because their mind is what determines what's pleasurable and what's painful, not you, right? Their mind is deciding. And wow, only our mind. So it's not our eyes that are seeing, and it's not our body that's feeling. It's our mind that is deciding what it is to us. And my mind goes, that's pleasurable. Oh, that's painful. Oh, that's desirable. Oh, that's not undesirable. Our mind is deciding what our eyes see and what our body feels. Isn't that deep? Now, if you are experiencing something that doesn't feel good in your body, or if you're seeing something with your eyes that doesn't bring you joy, then this is the best news that there could be. Because this is the answer to that. This is the answer to the pain, what feels painful to you, emotionally, physically, or otherwise. This is the answer to that, because this is telling you where that pain or pleasure is really coming from. And the only place you can change it. Good news. Hard to believe, but the best news. Okay, great. Do we have to be out of here by noon?
No.
Okay, great. Then
By
we're gonna.
5:30.
We said till 5:30. All right, we got till 5:30, y'all.
So we can get through this.
Probably.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. Okay, here we go. Paragraph 4. It is in the sorting out and categorizing activities of the mind that errors in perception enter. What is our mind doing? Categorizing, sorting out. Okay, and categorizing and sorting out, what is that? Differences. Where's the differences? How is this different from that? That's what categorizing and sorting out means. This is different from that, so this goes over here, and this is different from that, so this goes over there. That's what our mind is doing. Okay? And it says, and that's where what? That's where the errors in perception enter. Our categorizing. Well, this is different from that, and this is different from that, and this is different from that. That's where my errors are coming from.
It's really an oxymoron, trying to categorize and make sameness out of differences.
Exactly. I know.
We want sameness.
Yes.
We want to categorize.
But we want to also, distinguish one thing from the other.
Right.
Yeah. We think if I could just categorize everything and sort everything out or get it all organized, I'd be happy.
This is all, well, he's talking about a process of us defining reality.
Exactly. This is how we define reality. Categorizing and sorting out.
Different.
That's how we do it.
Sameness, yeah.
How is this thing different from the other? Okay.
It also reminds me of the statement of that the ego analyzes and the Holy Spirit accepts.
Yes. It's the same thing as saying the ego analyzes and the Holy Spirit accepts. Exactly. The ego sorts out and categorizes. Right?
Analyzes, which is different.
Exactly.
There can be no categories in sameness.
That's exactly. There can be no categories in sameness. There can be no orders of difficulty in sameness. There can be no categories to sort through in what is the same. And what is the same? Reality. There's not a different reality for everybody. It's like, well, you have a different reality. We have a different reality. Of course, mine's right.
Because it's different.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna come up with how you're different from somebody else and not also continue with and I'm right or I'm better. They just go together. Okay. So it says, and it is here in the sorting out and categorizing activities of the mind where corrections must be made. Okay. That's where corrections must be made. In the sorting out and categorizing activities of the mind. The mind classifies what the body's eyes bring to it, and the mind classifies it according to the mind's preconceived values, which means the mind judges where each sense datum fits best. So you've got all this sense data that is coming in through your senses, okay? And then your mind goes, okay, that piece of sensory data goes here, that piece of sensory data goes over here, this piece of sensory data that you got from your ears goes here, what you saw with your eyes, it goes over here, what you felt with your skin goes over here. Okay? That is where the correction needs to be. That's where the problem is coming in, and that's where the answer is. And what basis for perception could be faultier than this? What basis for judgment? What basis for judgment could be faultier than your perceptions? I'm judging based on my perception. I'm judging based on what my eyes report, what all my senses report. He says, what faultier basis for judgment can be than your senses? Unrecognized by itself. It has itself asked to be given what will fit into these categories, the mind. And having done so, the mind concludes that the categories must be true. I'm looking for something I'm looking for differences, and then I conclude that my categories must be true. Okay? On this, the judgment of all differences rests, because it is on this the judgments of the world depend. Can this confused and senseless so-called reasoning be depended on for anything? Exactly. Wait, you're going to base your judgments on the different things that you believe you're seeing. You're going to base your judgments on what you're seeing and what your senses report to you. When really your senses are only reporting what your mind wants to be true. But then you're going to go, oh look, I'm right. My senses are showing me what my mind wanted to see, and then I go, see, I'm right.
Justification.
Exactly, see, I'm justified in my response because I'm right. That judgment was right because I saw what fit in with my judgments. I saw what fit in with what I wanted to be true, what I was looking for. See, I'm right.
The really crazy part is we really know too that everybody's senses are different.
Absolutely.
That everybody perceives differently. So how could my senses possibly be right?
Now that is a
There's no
question
logic.
that the ego does not want you to ask. That is a question the ego does not want you to ask. How is it that I'm pretty sure they're always wrong in their perception, but I'm always right in what my senses are reporting to me? And and we've all seen how much our senses do deceive. We've all seen that. And he says, and that we trust our perception to the last degree is
Insane.
distorted. It's insane. It's insane.
Totally.
So we're being asked to question what we're seeing, and remember where the source of what you're seeing is coming from. Remember where the source of what you're seeing is coming from. And it says, and having done so, our mind concludes the categories must be true. On this, the judgment of all differences rests, because it is on this the judgments of the world depend. Okay, beautiful. Paragraph 5. There can be no order of difficulty in healing merely because all sickness is illusion. Is it harder to dispel the belief of the insane in a larger hallucination as opposed to a smaller hallucination? Will you agree more quickly to the unreality of a softer voice you hear than to that of a louder voice? Will you dismiss more easily a whispered demand to kill than a shout to kill? And does the number of pitchforks the devil you see carrying affect the devil's credibility in your perception? Well, that devil's only carrying 3 pitchforks, and that devil's carrying 20 pitchforks, so those devils are different. That's what we're doing. with our perception. Okay, that was a whispered demand to kill, and that was a shout to kill. So those demands to kill are different. Those are different. So I'll go on a date with this one because their shout to kill was a whisper instead of shout. Okay, or I'll go out with this one who has one pitchfork instead of 20 pitchforks. That devil's better. I'll go out with them. Okay.
Relatively safer.
Yes, I'm relatively safer. Not. All right. So I like what it's saying there about that this is healing. It says there can be no order of difficulty in healing merely because all sickness is illusion. It doesn't matter if the sickness is cancer or if the sickness is a cold. It says there's no order of difficulty in healing because all sickness is illusion. It doesn't matter whether it's a big old scary illusion or it's a teeny little illusion in your perception. It doesn't matter. They're all illusions. They're all the same. Beautiful. It says, our mind has categorized them as real, the illusion, the sickness, and so the sicknesses are real to us. Our mind has categorized all the different sicknesses as real, and so all the different sicknesses are real to us. When we realize that all sickness and all problems are all illusions, then they will disappear. When I realize that all sickness is an illusion, all problems is an illusion, they're all the same, they're all an illusion, that's when they disappear. That's when they disappear. That's what I'm looking for. How do they disappear? And so it is with healing. The properties of sicknesses, which seem to make the sicknesses different, are really irrelevant. For the sicknesses' properties are as illusory as the sicknesses are. See, this is where healing really comes from. This is where healing really happens, in how we interpret the sickness, how we see it, okay? What we see of it. The body's eyes will continue to see differences. But, then we're talking about healing now, okay? We just talked about healing, illusions, sicknesses disappear, this is healing, this is how healing occurs. In healing, paragraph 6, the body's eyes will continue to see differences, but the mind, which has let itself be healed, will no longer acknowledge them as differences. Now, that's the healing. That's the healed mind. My body's eyes still report differences. I see this person seems sicker than that person. This person seems more broke than the other person. But my mind has been healed of the belief that of differences, that there's differences in illusions. And so my mind no longer goes, oh, that's different. Ooh, that's scary. Oh, that's different. Ooh, that's scary. Or we're different. Ooh, I'm scared. Okay, so my body's eyes will continue to report the differences, but my mind will not acknowledge that they are different. Okay, that's how you know when the mind has been healed. And so there will be those who seem to be, quote, sicker than others, and the body's eyes will report their changed appearances as before, but the mind will put them all in one category. The sicknesses are unreal. That's what the healed mind does. I'm talking about the healed mind. The eyes of the healed mind will still report differences because that's what eyes do. But the mind will go, they're all the same, they're all in one category, unreal. So cancer, unreal. Cold, unreal. Okay? Relationship problem, unreal. Money problem, unreal. Just unreal. They're all the same. They're unreal. One category.
And I'm wanting to share that this idea here of sickness, health, illusion versus reality extends unto our perception of bodily death.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
was at a wake yesterday for another friend who passed away very recently. And I'm just recognizing now, listening to this, that my body's eyes and the agreement of all the other bodies I was with yesterday, that Todd was no longer among us.
Yeah.
I can recognize that's what my eyes are telling me, but that is not real. That Todd is still extant, if you will.
Todd didn't die.
Todd didn't die.
Todd didn't die. Exactly. Your healed mind sees all the forms of sickness, even unto death, thank you for saying that, as unreal. Yeah. Even though your eyes reported that his body was no longer with you. A great example. Great example. Yes, beautiful. And that's what it's like when you have a healed mind. You know, your body's eyes will still report the differences relative to sickness or health, but your mind will put them all into one category, unreal. And what happens when you see it as unreal? It disappears. I love that. It disappears. The ultimate magic trick, which is not magic, it's a miracle. Okay? You see, you correctly perceive, illusion gone. That's a miracle. Okay, beautiful. Then we're almost finished with the last paragraph. It says, this is the gift of its teacher, the mind's teacher. This is the gift of the mind's teacher. What's the gift of your mind's teacher? The understanding that only two categories are meaningful in sorting out the messages the mind receives from what appears to be the outside world. And of these two categories, only one category is real. So that's what the healed mind does. It understands there's only two categories that are meaningful in sorting out the messages your mind receives from the world through your senses. And only one of those categories is real. Just as reality is wholly real, which means just as reality is apart from size and shape and time and place, you see that? Reality doesn't have differences of size and shape and time and place. Why? Because differences cannot exist within reality. And just like no differences can exist within reality, so too are sicknesses without distinction. The one answer to sickness of any kind is healing. The one answer to all illusions is truth. So it's like, this is an illusion, and then what's the truth? This is an illusion, and it's just like the same as every other illusion. It's no different, it's not bigger, it's not scarier, it's not badder. It's just an illusion as any other illusion is. And what's the answer to that? The truth. What's the truth? This is an illusion, what's the truth? Beautiful. And the truth is that all is one and all is love. That's the truth. All is one and all is love.
And nothing I see has any meaning.
And so nothing I see, no differences I see mean anything.
What my body's eyes are telling me is not true.
What my body's eyes are telling me is not true. Try that. What if we were to do that? You know, if we were like experiencing something that was what we were seeing and perceiving was frightening us or upsetting us or angering us. What if we were to say, nothing my body's eyes are showing me right now is true? Oh, and then, Spirit, what is true? What is true right now, Spirit? What if we did that? Let's try. How about we try that this week? How about we try that? Yeah, that's our homework. All right, beautiful. Any questions or comments before we close up? We do our announcements. Anything?
very important and timely section.
Absolutely. Very timely and important section. Absolutely. Beautiful. All right. So, any announcements from the Miracle Center? Any announcements of anything that we need to know about?
Just make sure you stay for joining afterwards.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. So there's some snacks in the kitchen?
There are.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Beautiful. Okay.
Thank you for eating.
Announcements. My announcements are my Monday night practical and healing applications of the Course of Miracles. I still do it Monday at 7, but I'm only doing it online on my Facebook page for the winter. So just so that is Monday 7 p.m. on my Facebook page, and not live in person at the Miracle Center for the winter. Okay. And then Greg and I do a Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles every Sunday and Tuesday on my Facebook page at 7 p.m., where we take the ideas that Spirit chooses, what section Spirit chooses, and we apply it to our relationships, and we support others in doing the same with theirs. That's what we do on Sundays and Tuesdays, 7 p.m. And also, I'm a holistic psychotherapist, and I have a psychotherapy practice called Miracle Psychotherapeutics. And if you would like to schedule a one-on-one session with me where we take the ideas, take the Course of Miracles ideas and apply it to whatever place you need a miracle, then in the class description you'll find a way to connect with me to do that. Okay? Beautiful. All right, well, since we have some time, let's do an integration meditation. All right. In our integration meditation, we take the ideas and we use them, we apply them in whatever area of our life we need a miracle of peace or joy or abundance. So just take a moment, tune inward, just noticing how you feel today, having heard these ideas. I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship right now that is frightening, that doesn't feel good. And now I want you to just briefly notice what your interpretation of this problem or this sickness is or has been. What's your story been about it? Beautiful. And then also notice how your interpretation of this situation, this problem or this sickness has, how your perception of this problem has affected you. How's it made you feel? And what actions have you taken in this problem or this sickness based on your perception of the situation? Beautiful. Now, let's bring this problem or sickness to our teacher, to Spirit of Truth and Healing, and ask it for its interpretation of this problem, how it sees the sickness or the problem or the issue. Now I want you to tell yourself what we heard today, and tell yourself, this problem is the same as all other problems, mine and the world's. It is unreal. It is an illusion. Tell yourself, this problem, this sickness is coming because from my belief that I am different from others. Tell yourself, this is my desire to be different and to see differences where there are no differences, because I want to be separate. There are no differences in reality. There are no differences in love. There are no differences in reality. Reality is one, and reality is only love. And this is the truth. And take a breath. And this is how illusions disappear. We say, thank you, God, for the truth. Thank you, God, for the truth. Thank you, God, for the truth. Beautiful. To that we say amen. All right. Yay for us. Yay for us. All right. And yay for you too. All right. Thank you guys for watching on Facebook. I really appreciate you watching this and sharing it if you would like to extend this message out into the world. Appreciate you all so much.